Hello everyone, welcome to the 40k show, our weekly live stream on YouTube and Twitch. Thanks so much everybody for joining me, and if I look exhausted, it's because I really am. So for those of you that are new here, this is a weekly show that we do. For the first sort of 15 to 20 minutes I'm going to talk about a topic, and then after I've talked about that topic, we're all going to talk about the topic. And when I say we all, I mean everybody in the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat. So thank you all you guys for joining us live. If you're catching this on YouTube afterwards as an on-demand video, you can come and join us live 21:30 every single Monday, UK time that is, on Twitch and YouTube. And there's some things to talk about before I get going on the main topic. First of all, in the Twitch versus YouTube war that occurs each month, for the month of July, YouTube won that war. So I'll be looking through the YouTube comments tonight and picking a chatter to be the winner of the prize. And the prize is going to be a £100 voucher, Element Games or Games Workshop, depending on your country of origin, because clearly Element Games vouchers don't really work for you, you guys in America. So, well done YouTube, you won that war. And if you guys are curious as to how you win the Twitch versus YouTube war, basically this is like a crusade to get me out of the factory now and get me going full time. So basically it's the chat that generates the most revenue in the month. And I take into consideration channel memberships, super chats for YouTube, Twitch subs, donations on Twitch. So there you go. Well done YouTube, you guys won that. Like I said, I'll find a super chatter probably from one of the streams in July, and one of you guys will win a £100 voucher for Games Workshop at Element Games. So thank you, love you all, you're heroes. You guys are superstars actually. I'm really happy with how these are going, so thank you so much for that. The other thing I want to do is give a big shout out to the Factorum. The Factorum is a gaming centre, stroke shop, stroke hobby place at Warminster, UK, so it's an hour away from me in Southampton. I went to their first ever 40k event this last weekend in association with the amazing guys at Vanguard Tactics and Foreground Publishing, and had an incredible weekend of gaming. First event I have played so far in 9th edition, actually. First competitive event I played in 9th edition as well. Had an absolute blast. It was a great event. They've got tickets up for the next one, which is the end of August, last weekend in August. If you guys are thinking about going, if you should, if you're local, head on over to the Factorum Facebook page, give it a like, and there's, I think, details for the tickets on there already as of midday today. It's an amazing event. I had 5 great opponents, so big shout out to Sam, Andrew, Ben, Maxine, and Joe. Amazing fun. And if you're wondering, I played Necrons as well, so I was back on the robots for the weekend. It was awesome. Anyway, massive shout out to Hofspring for subscribing again at tier 1 on Twitch. Legend, thank you very much. Same for Thunderwing Doomslayer. And welcome Paddy Baker to the channel as well as a YouTube member. Come and join the Hesir tier. I think that's how they say it. They're like Viking ranks. I just tried to rank everything Viking. And if you join the channel as a member, there's a Discord server. It's called the Great Hall, because that's cool. And a resub from Trench Monkey as well. So there's a hype train on Twitch already. Is that how it's starting? Is the war starting already on the first stream? Twitch have got a hype train going already. Just saying. Resub from Tiftaf from Twitch Prime as well. If you guys have got Twitch Prime, you can link Twitch Prime to your Twitch account and you can sub for free. But I get some money out of it. And then we'd steal from Amazon basically, which is worth doing. Anyway, like I said, massive welcome to everyone. Make sure you're going and checking out the Factorum for their events. They're going to run one at the end of the month every month. Huge thanks, Fabius Bile, for the resub on Twitch. Twitch are coming in hard this month, clearly. Yeah, go check out the Factorum. Like I said, great event, great place, wonderful people. It was a really, the whole feel of the event was just amazing. It was super chill, despite the fact that some really competitive people there. And the tables were covered in foreground scenery. They looked really good. They looked amazing, in fact. And I just feel like it was a real chilled, fun game that also had that competitive. For me, it's the perfect feel for an event. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I know they were nervous because it was their first event. I'm happily going back to the next one. So make sure you grab your tickets to come and join me. Right, okay, cool, perfect. So onto the topic for tonight. I want to talk about rules in 40k. We do a lot of talking about rules anyway when we get codexes out and we get things like supplements that come and we get campaign books, etc, etc. Oakentechi for subbing on Twitch is a legend, by the way. He just gifted that to John Luke, I think. Is that what's happened there? Yeah, that's what's happened there. Thank you very much for that. So we talk about rules quite a lot when we do reviews and stuff like that. And often we look at the rules in terms of comparing them to other rules that already exist in 40k. So when the AdMech Codex came out, for example, you compare it to those 9th edition codexes that already come out, and you look at, are they strong? Are they weak? Do they sit in the meta? How good are they comparatively? And that's an important comparison that we need to make. When things like Warzone Charadon come out, we do a similar type of thing, and we go, well, is that now going to break AdMech? Do they become too strong? Or we look at, are those rules going to not give them anything? Are they something that's not going to be taken, etc., etc., etc.? And there's lots of different things we look at when we look at rules. And what we don't often do is compare them to the narrative. I think we do it sometimes on DZTV. By the way, It's Sammy has subscribed for a month on Twitch Prime, and our Grimknight has cheered. So we're on a level 3 hype train. YouTube. So we compare those rules with the sort of competitive scene and the sort of meta, etc. And I don't think often we massively compare them to narrative. So we look at a unit now is strength this, AP this, and kicks out this many shots, or a unit now has this much damage, or a unit now does this in combat, or a unit now does that. And what we don't tend to do, is I don't think we tend to compare it massively with the narrative rules that exist, with the narrative sort of flavour of that army. Now, I think Games Workshop do work to do some sort of balancing rules versus narrative. Not amazingly, but I think they do. They try and make Khorne fighty. They try and make Tzeentch psychic-y. They try and make Grey Knights play well in the psychic phase. They try and slaughter demons, etc. So they do some balancing with narrative in terms of making sure that faction's rules play similarly to the narrative. And I think, if I'm honest, I think in 9th edition, they've done a better job than ever before of making rules that fit narrative. And some people have sort of layered this into it's too complicated, and there's a massive level of complication that's existed. So, for example, Necrons played Necrons that weekend. They've got a thing called command protocols, and you can pick your 5 command protocols, and those protocols are in effect, and basically the nobility, the characters of the army influence the rank and file troops who are a little bit more mindless as to what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. I mean, I didn't use it all weekend because I didn't want to add that layer of complexity in when I'm still learning to play competitively in 40k and learning to play secondary missions and such like. So I didn't use them. But I think that's adding layers of narrative in. And you could argue that that's similar with things like doctrines and chapter tactics. The orcs have come out and they've got... Actually, I don't think they've got a random ability that occurs for orcs, which is quite interesting. So with the Necrons, you've got this command protocol. Space Marines, you've got chapter tactics. Who else has come out so far? I can't remember what other army. AdMech, they've got more rules than you ever need. More rules than you ever need. So they exist. They're narrative-based rules. So Games Workshop, I think, are picking up more narrative-based rules. Huge thanks for the follow, Warlord Abba on Twitch, legend. And I think we're getting more narrative from them. And then when you look at Crusade, I think the first couple of books that came out of Crusade rules, they weren't great. And then some of the more recent books that are coming out with Crusade rules are more narrative on how those Crusade forces develop and how they grow through the missions as you play game on game on game. So I think they're doing loads to make them have more narrative flavour to them. And I have to be careful how much of these narrative rules I speak about, because as a playtester, I've seen a lot more of the Crusade rules and narrative rules that are coming, and I'm excited by those. But what I really want to ask is, do we ever think we can get to a point where the rules are exactly as the narrative? Now, I sit on the side of the fence that states categorically, no, I don't think we can. I don't think we can get to a point where the narrative for 40k is exactly represented on the tabletop, because horde armies, hordes of Tyranids, I think maybe to some extent, if we had completely narrative rules on 40k tabletop, Tyranids would be top of the meta, and I don't think you'd better beat them easily at all, ever, because they're just Tyranids. And they are numberless. They didn't stop. They just chew through and slaughter everything. You could argue that horde armies, you would just have so many. I think you'd have so many models in horde armies that you'd get to a point where you can't play a game in 2.5, 3 hours. You wouldn't be able to, because you just have too many models. And then you look at things like Astartes, and you look at things like the Custodes, and you think, well, I mean, a Custodes player is going to have like 3 models, right, at 2,000 points, and he's just going to chew through absolutely anything that comes anywhere near him. And if you play a demon army, you're just picking up swathes and swathes of demons. So I don't think, personally, I'm interested to see what the chat thinks in a minute. I don't think, personally, we can ever go down the route where the narrative for 40k is truly and 100% correctly reflected on the tabletop. Now, that's not to say that you can't play narrative 40k. That's not to say that you can't grab the open war cards, chuck a random mission together, get your opponent, and off you go, playing narrative 40k. Tell a story, put your narrative together, play a campaign, play Crusade, and layer Crusade missions in with each other. I think you can play narrative 40k. I think we do narrative 40k amazingly at deploymentzone.tv. And if you don't know what that is, ! DCTV in the chat. And that will get you a link to deploymentzone.tv. And if you go to deploymentzone.tv, you get a 7-day free trial. And that's where Winters and I put content on, as well as Play on Tabletop put content on, and there's podcasts and all kinds of stuff. So I think we do well at telling narrative games and telling a narrative story. So I'm not saying 40k can't be narrative. I think that's categorically a given. I think that, in my opinion, the core of 40k is built on people that want to play mostly a form of narrative. And that's not to say that they want to truly reflect what's happening in the 41st millennium necessarily, but they want to develop their army. They want to develop their story. They want characters with epic deeds. I know plenty of people that have things like spreadsheets, and I'm not taking the piss out of Stylus and Mikey P. I know people that have things like spreadsheets that track the deeds of their characters and of their specific warriors. Quipster, for Christ's sake, with his Custodes, he quite literally has a special sheet for every single model in his army, because they've all got individual names, and you could do that when your army's got, I think, I'm trying not to try and be funny, I think like 20 models. So he actually tracks what each individual model does, and he keeps a history of their deeds. And writes it under their name tag, so he knows what they've done. So he's really built that narrative. That's not to say that the army can't compete as well. The army's strong. It's Custodes. It does well. I think they won an event recently. So those armies, I think they might have won the event this last weekend, the Glasshammer event. I'm not sure. But they can be narrative, right? So there's a way in which an army can be narrative without being true to the narrative, if that kind of makes sense. Huge shout out to Nick on Twitch. He's resubscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much, you absolute legend. Valrax just bombed us. So if you are in the YouTube chat, please make sure you absolutely, completely and utterly abuse Valrak. We had him on the Endless Cacophony podcast. So we had him on the Endless Cacophony podcast on Thursday, which is a podcast we put on deploymentzone.tv every single Friday. And you can, like I said, you can hit the link and you guys can go and subscribe to DZTV for a 7-day free trial, and you can listen to the podcast with Valrak, or we're going to put that podcast on YouTube. So the podcast with Valrak's going on YouTube probably on Friday, and it will also go on Twitch, Spotify and iTunes as well. Big shout out to Sam for coming and joining us. He's also, Sam is my opponent for the first ever live stream battle report that will be on YouTube on the 21st, and Twitch for that matter, on the 21st of this month. He's coming all the way down. Big old super chat for one of my favourite Vanguard Tactics people, Kylo. £2. Hello, you beautiful man. You're an absolute legend. Thank you very much, Kylo. Kylo, we're doing the Twitch versus YouTube war for revenue again, and it's not going very well for YouTube right now. Twitch have absolutely smashed it out of the park already, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, I don't want to draw too much attention to Valrak, but if he's left his stream up, you need to go and give him some love. He's got a bit of a sexual infection on his face. I don't think you want me to bring it up. Oscar Iverson's also donated 50 Swedish krona. Valrak's snugly gifts must be spread. Valrak's got herpes. Just saying. I'm just saying. He's got herpes. So it's a reason to laugh at him, and I'm probably going to put it on the next poll that we put on every week. And there's plenty of people super chatting. Adam's super chatting. We bring herpes from Valrak's Underhive. Thank you very much, you legends. You're heroes for supporting the stream and supporting that full-time dream. I can't wait, because actually, I won't lie to people. Slightly off topic right now, right? But I'm fucking exhausted. And this weekend made me realise a few things. One, I love events, and two, I really need to quit my fucking job, because I'm so tired right now. And I said to my wife earlier, I was like, I might just stream for like half an hour. Now I can't, because now Valrak's brought 100 people here. I have to keep talking to you people. But I will, don't you worry. I won't. I will keep talking to you wonderful people anyway. So those of you that just joined us from the Valrak chat, we're talking narrative versus the rules on the tabletop. Super chat from Sean, 199. What's the podcast called? Podcast is called the Endless Cacophony Podcast. You can find it on iTunes and Spotify. We don't put them out there constantly and regularly. They predominantly sit on DZTV. There's a link to DZTV below this and YouTube. You get a 7-day free trial, and you can come and join us. See that? So he's super chat £2 already missing the tank top. I didn't think people actually wanted me to wear the tank top every single week. Do you want me to wear the tank top every week? I've got plenty of vest tops. I can put them on. I can get the arms out for you people. I'm not afraid. I'll do it. I'm quite happy to do that for you. So we're talking narrative rules versus current rules, and whether actually 40k can have the true narrative on the tabletop. And I don't think they can. I think you can play narratively, but I don't think they can actually completely represent the actual sort of narrative, because I just think you'd end up with Astarte smashing everyone, Tyrann is winning everything, and I just don't think it works. Be interesting to see what you guys think. In the meantime, going to jump and chat to Tom. Super chat £10. Valrak was on Endless Cacophony podcast, and now he has herpes. It was Chris. Chris gave it to him. Honest. I'm worried that I originally said he could come and stay in my spare room when he came down for the bat report. I don't want his face on the pillow. I'd have to throw it out. Jason Schaefer, super chat $5. Chapter Master Valrak needs your support. He does need my support. He does. He doesn't need fucking anyone's support. Valrak doesn't. So yeah, chat. Let me know what you think. So I mean, clearly at the moment, I think it's obvious at the moment, right, that the current rules in 40k don't completely, utterly, and 100% match the narrative, because they don't. Because if you did, like we've already discussed, Tyrannids would rampage through every army. Horde armies would be too numerous to play. It would get boring. Space Marines would be a lot less in number, but they just slaughter things. So I don't think we can play true narrative. I don't think we can. I would love to know what you guys think, and whether you guys think that we can actually play true narrative. So let me know in the chat, and I'm going to jump in the comments. This isn't going to be the normal 2-hour stream, unless you super chats carry on, simply because I am absolutely exhausted, and I do still have a actual job to go to as well, so... Squirrel Noob has super chatted $25. Need vest Liam model for my creations of Bio Army. That's a kit bash. That's a kit bash that you absolutely need to do. Chris Locke super chatted $5. Don't shake Valrak's hand. I didn't intend to touch him. He's from the north. I wasn't going to touch him. What are you doing on that podcast? Yeah, actually, that podcast, I need to apologise. If you're going to go find that podcast, I'm going to go. I need to apologise for it, because the language in that one is horrific. My language isn't amazing anyway. X-Force's language is pretty bad. I got Sam on there, got Valrak on there, and it just devolved into horrendous. But people seem to enjoy it, so that's cool. Suspect84, subscribe with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much for stealing from Amazon. Everybody should be encouraged to steal from Amazon. The only support Valrak needs is the neck support. I mean, to be fair, he's got quite a big neck, so he's probably okay. Jason Schaefer, I mostly play Adeptus Titanicus, and I find it pretty easy to play narratively. That's interesting. I haven't ever played Titanicus, but I've always heard good things about it, because there's lots of ways in which you can do things with your Titans, which I think sometimes 40k is missing. So interestingly, whilst we're talking narrative versus real, losing things like art facings for vehicles, maybe even losing things like blast templates, does that reduce the narrative? I mean, it improves the gameplay experience, I would argue, to some extent, but does it reduce the narrative of that army? Does armor facings, having arcs for firing, getting rid of those has reduced loads of arguments, it's sped the game up? Does it remove some of the narrative? The fact that a Lehman Russ can stick its back wheel out behind a ruin and target your knight, it's not narrative, that is it, that you're shooting from your back window. If rules match the narrative, the Knights and Titans would be much harder to kill. Absolutely. At the moment, you've still got Guardsmen that can tear down an Emperor Knight. Lehman Russ says, Liam, can I send you my army list for the tournament I have got on Saturday? You're more than welcome to, and I will try and help you. And if I can't help you, I'll push you towards Steve and the Vanguard Tactics crew, because he'll definitely be able to help you. Big super chat from Kylo, which has just disappeared off the screen, so I need to go and find it in the chat. Let there be war. Also, you look knackered. Thanks, mate. Thanks for that. God, I look so exhausted. I am, in fact, actually knackered. I am exhausted. I'll talk about the event in a minute as well, so you guys can know how I get on. Because currently we're chatting about, obviously, these narrative rules. You would need to play with D20s instead of D6s. Space Marines would hit on a 2+ on a D20 to make it narrative. And this is what I'm talking about. I don't think we can go down the true narrative route, because first of all, I don't know if the system actually allows it. with D6, because even a 2+, a 1 in 6 chance of missing is a lot higher. And actually, Space Marines hit on 3s. A 1 in 3 chance of missing is a lot higher on the tabletop than Space Marines actually have in the narrative, right? They aim, they pull the trigger, they hit. So you'd almost be auto-hitting with Space Marines with a D6. You'd have to say that they auto-hit. It'd be flamer rules for Space Marines, and you can't do that, so they have to miss. And even if they hit on 2s, a 1 in 6 chance of them missing is probably still higher than we currently know in the narrative. And if you did make them hit on 2s, what are you then going to do for Custodes? It's a real hard one to do, right? James says, what up? Do you think that maybe it balances out apart from the humans? So like Custodes are all right at the tabletop, but then so are the NIDs. So I think they do a good job currently of actually balancing the rules on the whole. I mean, 8th versus 9th Codex is perhaps a different story, and it could be argued they did a turbo shit job with the Admech Codex. But then the FAQ seems to fix a lot of it. I still think they're really strong, but it's fixed a lot of it. But on the whole, my personal belief is when you look at the new Space Marines, the supplements that have come out, the Admech, the Drukhari, the Necrons, on the whole, I think they're relatively balanced. I think they're relatively balanced between the 9th codexes. I think you tend to find that 8th versus 9th can be a hard matchup. But like we said last time, I think it was this weekend, Custodes won it. It's an 8th edition codex. There is still some codexes from 8th edition that can really perform still in 9th, which is quite interesting. And you'd think that Custodes wouldn't because they don't have the massive footprint. But I mean, I got beat by Custodes game 1 on Saturday. I scored high, but got beat by them. They were just so tough. They kicked out so much damage, and they were played very, very well. So, right, let's scroll down. D weapons were narrative, and they were busted instead. D weapons were fucking stupid, right? I love them though. I had Wraith Knights because D weapons were so good. Do you guys know what a D weapon is? D weapons were sort of like Titanic weapons in 7th edition. And you basically, some of what I'm going to say won't make sense if you don't know 7th edition anyway, but you basically rolled a dice. On a 1, nothing happened. On a 2 to a 5, you did, I think it was D3 penetrating hits or something like that. And a penetrating hit against a vehicle was pretty serious in 7th edition. And then you did, or if you rolled a 6, you just remove the model from the board, whatever it was. That was stupid. Stupidly broken. I liked templates. I loved templates, Sergeant Angel. Or Angle. I loved templates. I miss templates. I liked the random scatter as well. And again, I do genuinely believe, right, that a lot of these changes to templates and stuff that have come away or have disappeared out of 7th and they've gone in 8th and 9th. For gameplay and for events, I think they're better. They're less broken. They remove a lot of arguments about, well, it went that way on my scatter dice, and that was janky, right? And I don't think there was a better way to do it, but that was janky. But I loved templates. So if you were playing with if I was playing with friends, if I was playing with Brom, we would never argue about where a template was going to scatter to. We're mates. We're not playing because I want to win an event, and we're not playing for £1 million prize. We're just mates. So I loved templates when it was with mates. Events and arguments, that made it, yeah. But I did like the fact that they could also scatter back onto you. Do you remember when you guys used to have to randomly, I think it was mortars, you had to guess how far away they were? I got so good at knowing how many inches away roughly that was, so I could then place my template. I love that. But then you still have to scatter anyway. And that used to help. It used to help men know how much an inch was. We don't know anymore. That's my excuse. Squirrel Nib, I don't think that narrative should affect the tabletop so much. That works in a book or comic, cannot be fairly replicated. Agree. I agree. I would rather the game was balanced so that I could enjoy playing my Necrons versus Tyranids or enjoy my Eldar versus Space Marines or whatever it might be, rather than it was truly narrative. And I knew if I came up against a specific opponent, I was just going to get beaten. So, yeah, I agree with you, James. It's Brap, by the way. Oh, fucking hell, Brap's here. Fucking Brap. Brap is the brainchild of the 4 Horsemen of the Hobbypocalypse. The 4 Horsemen of the Hobbypocalypse was a series that was put on deploymentzone.tv where 4 individuals got together and every single month they painted 250 points. And at the end of the 6 months, they each had 1,500 points painted, and we encouraged the community to hobby along, and you got stamped cards that you could put on things like social media. And at the end of that, they've then played a 4-way game, which I don't think is up yet, but it's coming soon. And Brap's a legend for that, and it was a really, really well-received campaign within our community. We had loads of people that were following along with the Four Horsemen and getting their stamps each month and doing the 250 points. And Season 2's confirmed, I believe. Brap tell us, but I think Season 2's confirmed as well. So if you guys missed Season 1 and you want to jump in on a Hobby Apocalypse thing and start hobbying along with some of the DZTV community, and you get your stamps and it encourages you to do 250 points a month, every month, jump on and do that with Brap and the guys. It was an incredible season. Peter Butchin's D weapons. I missed out 6th and 7th as well as the huge chunk of 5th. Kylo says, I told you to take my knights. I should have taken knights. I probably would have done better. But I genuinely enjoyed the Necrons. We'll talk about that in a second. A 2 and 3 chance to hit in a firefight is ridiculously high compared to real life. Something like 90% of bullets hit nothing in real combat. Unless you me. When I was in the army and I was shooting, nothing hit. Nothing hit at all. Bring black templates and stack scattered dice from Woodsy. I agree. Absolutely. I don't mind losing templates. No, I don't think people... I think for random pickup games, I don't think people... So another thing as well, I know it's horrible that I keep slurping on the screen, but lots of talking the weekend in a loud room. I've lost a lot of my voice. You can hear it going, right? I've been in London today talking to one of my teams, so I'm struggling. I don't mind losing them, especially for random pickup games where there could be arguments in tournaments. And I'm getting into playing tournaments now. I'm starting to really enjoy it. And I think it's good for that. But just for the narrative aspect, I quite like it. Templates and scatter dice is more realistic than the rules for 9th. Yeah, I agree. I was a sniper with guess weapons. We were talking about that the weekend as well, right? With cannons in fantasy, and you can snipe with cannons and stuff. And Gartsy super chatted. I know I've missed it on the screen. Guess range weapons. Anyone loved guess range weapons? Thank you so much for the super chat. You absolute hero. So yeah. I was so good at guessing ranges thanks to fantasy. Could easily hit targets 48 inches away, maximum 1 inch off. I mean, that's impressive. I thought I was good. That's impressive. Anyone remember the Dark Millennium box of D weapon templates, psychic powers, and shenanigans? Love the simplicity of 9th, but the pass was key. I say this is one of those things, right? 7th was categorically a hot fucking mess of an edition. It was a mess of an edition. And I loved it. Brap says Season 2 is not confirmed. Don't believe him. I've spoken about it. I know it's confirmed. I didn't do the Hobby Apocalypse. The first go, I'd absolutely jump for Season 2 from Son of Olympia. You should. There's loads of people that did it. Like I said, get your little card stamped up. So that's amazing. Got Dark Millennium in my garage. Vortex grenades. Here we go. Vortex grenades. Yes. Virus Bomb anyone. Warp Change. Charge cards. Demon Attack. Oh, I miss the old editions. At the Factorum, we found a 5th edition rulebook. I'm thinking about stealing that for a battle report, just for a giggle, just to play a 5th edition game on the channel. I think that'd be cool. I have sent you my list on Discord. Cheers, Lehman Russ, thanks. In my opinion, all games all need an abstraction to work as games, as long as that abstraction gives the feeling of fighting with X or fighting against X, and it works for the narrative. Agree. So I think they can have narrative flavour rather than being truly narrative to their or truly reflective of their narrative. I think that's the best way to sort of try and explain it. So Space Marines and their rules have their narrative flavour. They're not 100% how they would play on the tabletop, but they have their narrative flavour. You hear my voice going? They have their narrative flavour. And Necrons with the reanimation protocols, they have their narrative flavour. Listen to a Necron novel, they get smashed to bits and they all get back up again. I mean, that wouldn't be very friendly for people or very fun for people, would it? So I think they have the narrative flavour. I just don't think we can get to a point where they have their true narrative reflected on the tabletop for reasons we've discussed. It looks like you all agree with me anyway, so that's it. We're done. Let's finish. No, I'm joking. We're not going to finish. So I want to talk about the event for a bit as well, because it was great fun and it was my first competitive experience in 9th edition. And let's get the hard part out of the way, right? Let's get the hard part out of the way. I lost more games than I won. Go on, abuse me. I know you want to. I lost more games than I won. But as a first foray into competitive 40k in 9th, and I played some events in 8th edition, but 8th edition's rules weren't set up like the new sort of 9th edition style. The new 9th edition style is kind of along the lines of the ITC format. I don't know if you guys ever played ITC, but I played ITC maybe twice before 9th. And John Luke's just said, did you win any games? I did win some games. I know I said I lost more, but I won some games. And Jedi said, did you compete under VT or DZ? Fucking get out. I love the Vanguard Tactics team, but if I'm going to an event, I'm competing under DZTV. And if you guys are DZTV fans and you go to events, I would encourage you to also compete under DZTV so we can knock this VT team off of top spot, right? We won't, but we could. So I did win 2 games. And I mean, to be honest with you, first game we played Custodes. I played a guy called Sam, an amazing, incredible dude who's a DZTV sub, and he's not an amazing, incredible dude just because he's a DZTV sub, but he is. I played Custodes. I took tons of destroyers. He had loads of 3 damage weapons. He scored 97 points. I scored 81. So he beat me. He was a legend. Second game, I played Andrew, also a DZTV sub, with the Salamanders, and he was an absolute hero as well. And we beat him. That was a very close game. Third game, I played Ben Jones from Vanguard Tactics, who's a very, very good player. And I played it against a mixed Aldari and Harlequins list, and he got 97 points again, and I got 82. Fourth game, I played Maxine. Maxine also plays 40k, their name on Instagram. Check her out. And she beat me with the World Eaters, and I might have told her how to do some things with World Eaters, and that was probably a massive mistake. But I had a melee Necron army, and she out-meleeed me with World Eaters, which I suppose is expected, to be fair. And the last game, I played Joe Coles and his Chaos Space Marine with a Khitan, and it was an absolute bloodbath. He scored 26 points, and I scored 94. So I came complete midfield, right in the middle, okay? Right in the middle. And I won best in faction for Necrons because there was 2 Necron players. And I also got the most votes for most sporting, but Jake from Vanguard Tactics also got the most votes for most sporting, so we tied, and because he looks like a small child, they gave it to him instead, which I think is a shit move. They gave him that one. I don't think that was very nice. But he got it instead of me, so I didn't get the wooden plaque. I only got the plaque for best Necrons, the 2 of us. But it was an incredible event, and actually, as a person who predominantly prefers narrative play overall, and that's what sort of DZ's built around, right? And that's what I focus on the most, I guess, over the course of the last few years, is narrative type talk, narrative type play. I was apprehensive about it. I was a bit anxious about it, and I'm not typically a nervous person, because I'm just not. I'm quite an extroverted individual. I mean, you probably could guess, right? But I was quite anxious about it because I felt like, having not played tons of 9th edition, I was in a bit of a weak place when it comes to understanding the games in terms of secondaries and stuff like that. So I sort of picked 2 secondaries that I knew I was going to take every single game, just to make it really simple. And then I picked a random one-ish for each of the 5 games. And on occasions I made a really bad choice, on other occasions I made some good choices. If you guys are actually thinking about going to an event and you're also apprehensive because perhaps you're normally a narrative player, honestly, I would go for it, because it was just so much fun. And we had 24 people at the event. It was a small one because it was the Factorum's first event. The spirit of that event was just amazing. It was incredible. I think we had 20 people out for a meal in the evening, something stupid like that. And everyone was sort of chilling out and eating Thai food, I think it was. It was incredible. It was really, really, really good fun. It was really, really chilled because I'd prepped by picking 2 specific secondaries that relieved some of the pressure during the actual gaming itself. Meant I was able to sit back and enjoy myself. And I did really fucking enjoy myself. So it was incredible. And the guys at Vanguard Tactics as well, and big shout out to those. Steve won't watch this because when Steve comes in and watches the stream, I abuse him as much as I possibly can. But because it's funny and he just gets upset and leaves. But they ref the event for the weekend. Amazing feeling of sort of fair play and sportsmanship. Really, really good. And if you guys want to learn how to get better at 40k, you can check out their academy as well. I don't think I've got it linked below. I should probably link it below in future. I think it's 50% off for the first month, and he has committed to put in some of his Vanguard Tactics Academy content in DZTV. So if you guys are DZTV subs, you'll be able to see that for free first. I say for free, part of your DZTV subscription first. And go, actually, I really like that. I'm going to start getting involved with that. So that's just a shout out to those guys as well. He did an amazing job reffing the weekend. It was really, really cool. I only asked them as the man in the hat wasn't keen on the team DZ tag. Who's the man in the hat? I do like Stephen from Vanguard Tactics though. He's always very professional. I can respect that. He is. I'm just trying to make him more human. Just trying to wind him up a bit more. Steve's an absolute legend. Jake gave the pumped arm emoji to Silent King. Silent King was a baller, by the way. He's really good. And then he clearly got upset that I said that he was a small child. Joint most sporting, yeah. Can you imagine who gets the award? No, you have it. No, you have it. Squirrel New Boss for Champion of Chaos Part 2 soon. Probably not soon. If we redid Champion of Chaos now, I've got my 8th edition 1 wound Chaos Space Marines, and Winters has got his super powerful Death Guard. That's not a competition, is it, at the moment? So it's just not. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And Champion of Chaos also requires a lot of time to film it, and I don't have that at the moment. So get me out the factory, and you can have your Champion of Chaos. Okay, even if I will get pumped. Inquisitive X. Can't give me hopes I'll be facing them with demons. I don't know what you're talking about. They're having a chat amongst themselves in the YouTube chat. You please carry on. You're welcome. Scrivo, you build your list around 1 to 2 secondaries. That's my hot tip. It's a really good tip that if you're going to go to an event, I actually believe you can take a narrative friendly list to an event and not come bottom. I think you can do that. But if you're building a list to play 40k nowadays and you've got an eye on match play, you're not just going to play open play. You've got an eye on match play gaming. I think you should definitely, when building your list, consider secondaries and think about a couple. And even if it's ones you want to do that just makes it fun, so it doesn't have to be this is the one where I'm going to get the most points on. I mean, for an event, especially if you want to do well, you need to think about that. But you can, going back to kind of the topic of the show, you can go back to, this is a narrative secondary that I really want to take. And I think I could score some points. Oh, I need some cough medicine or something. So, and I think I can score some points with this particular secondary and its narrative, and it fits the narrative. I wanted to take every game Code of Combat for Necrons. And Code of Combat is a secondary objective whereby if a noble unit kills an enemy unit, you gain 3 points for each one of those enemy units that a noble unit kills at the end of the game. Now, noble units are overlords on command barges, and the Silent King. I didn't have any overlords. I didn't have any overlords on command barges. I just had the Silent King. But I just loved the concept of the Silent King cutting around the board, slaughtering everything in its path. And in one game, actually, the Silent King did max out 15 points on the secondary for Code of Combat. And it was immensely fun thinking, I don't want to kill that unit with anyone else but the Silent King. I want to use the Silent King to do it. That was tons of fun. And I guess kind of narrative as well, I think, maybe, perhaps, possibly. I'm not sure. Adam, ADL Wargaming, missed the Factorum GT. Would love to come down and play with the VT chaps. Adam, have you changed your name? Because above it says 5 minute 40k ADL Wargaming. Evening all. Adam, ADL. You've got 2 different channels. Is that what it is? They've got another event at the end of August. Tickets are currently live. Grab a ticket, come down. Datsun Des played Champion of Chaos with Dark Angels. Wow. Sorry, Dark Angels players, but Steve is also aesthetically pleasing. Don't, Jeremy. Don't tell him that. Don't. It's disgusting enough as it is, to be quite honest with you. Scrivo says my list is narrative and competitive. I think it can be. I don't think it has to be. I think that's a real common misconception that a competitive list can't be narrative. I think typically what you see with a lot of competitive people is you see them spamming multiples of the same exact type of unit, which is why it sort of tends to lose some of that narrative feel. But I do think that you can have a competitive list that's also narrative. Absolutely. I don't think you can't. That's impossible. 100% think that's possible. Andy Evans, Brum UK, do Winters versus Styles after the Suns Dex is released. The winner gets to fight you in 18 months when 10th edition is released alongside the 9th Chaos Codex. That's probably true. But we've seen today, right, that the Thousand Suns Codex is going up for pre-order this weekend, or we saw it yesterday. Thousand Suns Codex is going up for pre-order on Saturday. which means I'm hoping if Games Workshop continue with their previewing that they're doing, I'm hoping it will drop on my doorstep in the next few days, and we can have a check through. We can check through that next week. I don't know. I'm not sure what, because I think the Grey Knight Codex is coming out at the same time as well. So, but I have bought some more cameras. So what we can do on stream is we can go to top down and look at the book. So you guys can have a look at the book as well. That'd be cool, right? But yeah, Thousand Suns versus Death God Champion of Chaos when the new book is out. It's probably the way to go. I think that's a good idea. Jason Schaefer, I need to head out. I have enjoyed the short stay. If you enjoy templates and range guessing, do try Titanicus. Thank you so much for joining us, you absolute legend. You're a hero. Check back for the rest of the stream at some point on YouTube. To be honest with you, I'm not going to stream forever because I'm dying and my voice is destroyed. Jedi, maybe a contender challenge for Champion of Chaos Stylus and Thousand Suns versus Death God. Witness plays Liam when he eventually gets 2 wounds. So never, by the way it's going, never going to get 2 wounds. Never. Are you coming to the LVO this year? I'm looking to come out to the LVO. I haven't got a ticket to the event, but I spoke to Reese about coming out and covering the event and doing a bit of vlogging and stuff, and he was up for it. So the intent is to come out for LVO, Painted Yellow 37, but we'll see. Chapter Master Varak, I'm back watching while laying on my couch. Fucking Jesus. He is a fine figure of a man. You can't tell that he spends so much time lying on his couch. Guardsy 14, wait, I thought we were reminiscing about fun things from older editions. We were. We absolutely were reminiscing about fun things from older editions. There was some crazy stuff that happened previously. I used to love some of those older rules. I genuinely miss the tank rules. Did you guys love or hate the tank rules? The fact that you had armor facings that meant different things. So I think I'd have a bastardization of both. So I think I'd take the old tank rules. I think I would, in terms of armor facings and arcs, and then I'd add the wounds thing from 9th edition, but I'd say that if you're on the front arc, it's maybe -1 to wound, side arc is flat, and then rear arc is +1 to wound, or something like that, to make it work. But everyone's going to argue about what facing it is. I just like it. I prefer it. Peter Butchins, if you're creative enough, you can make mostly narrative. I mean, you can write your narrative. This is one of the amazing things about 40k, right? Anything strictly can be narrative because you write your own narrative. So do what the fuck you want. And if it's narrative to you, it's narrative to you. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Unless you're an AdMech player. But no, they've probably fixed those, right? Just don't bring a monolith with a narrative list to a tournament. It was painful. Oh, no, don't. I've got 2 monoliths sat here. Don't tell me that. I want to use monoliths. Margalo PT, I've been watching your stream for a few times and I think I'm quite knowledgeable about 40k, but I can't get around something you mentioned. I find no information about it. What is Valrak? Do you know, I got some hate comments as well from it. I don't know if you saw on YouTube, people saying, oh, it's getting boring now, man. I was like, okay, well, don't do it for you, do it for me, so. Andy Evans, Brum UK, yeah, was surprised that one got up so fast considering how recent the preview was. I won't mention the H word, I'll be nice. I was hoping to drive over just to hang out. Cool. Well, I'm hoping to hang out too, so I'll let you know if I'm coming before we go, because I'm going to cover it anyway, so. Scrivo says Sam is lame. Scrivo's right. Scrivo, if you guys don't follow Scrivo's an absolute legend. Go find him on Twitch, not Twitch, on Instagram, etc. Scrivo's the guy who does all the cartoon work that I get him to, because I'm really vain and I just basically like having him make cartoons of me as different characters in the 40k universe, and then whoever I feel like at the time, that's the one that sits there. But yeah. He then says he can't see this because he's a YouTube peasant. Quite true. Ginger Steve, I will though, herpes. Sam, I don't know if I've ever had so many separate super chats from people just so they could tell me that you've got face herpes. And I saw it. I did come on the stream. I did see it. And I know you said you caught yourself shaving. It doesn't look like you caught yourself shaving. It looks like herpes. So you can get some cream for it. You'll be okay. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. It happens to people. Not me, but it happens to people. Adam says, are you coming to the LGT? I wasn't going to, and then Steve at the weekend and Jake at the weekend asked me to come, so now I might see if I can come to the LGT. Hope the top-down cam is shaky and Troke rips you. I'd take it. If Troke ripped me, I'd take it. He liked to tweet once. He liked to tweet on Twitter. So Troke's okay. Eccles the one you got to watch out for. Sits judging Liam for his little sips of juice. I'm sorry. I can't. My voice is dying. I didn't like Hull Points. Yeah, I didn't like Hull Points. Hull Points was a bit shitty, but I liked Armour Facings. I liked it in theory, but it did lead to arguments about side you're hitting. It did, absolutely. Inquisitive X, Liam's little pansy sips. Well, this has now got going by previous streams. This has now got to last me an hour and 15 minutes. So pansy sips it is. Okay. Super chat from Jedi. How's Gaz coming along? Think we need an update. Gaz is currently in the spray booth, right? And I sprayed him black, and then I sprayed him brown. Yeah, that happened. Because I think I want a really dirty looking armor. So I have started, but Gaz, he got some more brown on him today. And then I came back in here and I started painting this guy. This guy's cool. You see him? He's a super cool model. A Psychomancer. So yeah, I'm actually painting. I know, it's amazing. It's random. Sorry for being late, Liam was watching the latest ECP episode. Who is Valoram? Brilliant. Thomas super chats $20 No matter how old I get, I still make pew pew noises at a tourney. Find a couple of opponents who feel the same, and you're sorted. I mean, Orc players used to scream "war" at tournaments, didn't they? Every time they would. I can't remember. I mean, there was a couple of times I think I nearly dropped my pint at a tournament because someone just shouted "war" stood right behind me, and I shit myself. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Because they're just there to have fun, I guess. But then for ages, Orcs couldn't compete, so. I bought a monolith to the LVO last year and it got beat down by some punk-ass GSC with mining weapons. Sad panda. Yeah, it sucks. Shame. Are you going DZ Day on Saturday? If not, why not? Brap, I'm not going DZ Day on Saturday, I'm afraid. I've got friends coming down that I haven't seen for a very long time. And I spent all last week gaming at the Factorum. And the Saturday after, I'm live streaming from Vanguard Tactics direct to deploymentzone.tv, and the Saturday after that I'm live streaming direct to Twitch and YouTube with Sam with Chapter Master of Iraq, and then the weekend after that I've got another event at the Factorum. So if I went to 40k on Saturday as well when our friends are down, she would cut them off. So I can't. If the channel keeps growing though, so let's look at the YouTube members. If the channel keeps growing, then maybe, just maybe, I could justifiably do 40k every single weekend because it's the job then, and I can have my weekend in the midweek, right? So, Twitch is doing better. Just saying. Classy sips. They are class. I think we need that, don't we? We need the finger up to make it official. The classy sips. Filthy Xenos. I actually had a ton of fun. If I finish this juice, you're gonna have to sit there and watch a blank screen once I get some more, or I'm gonna have to start drinking my paint water. I loved the Xenos the weekend as well. Playing Necrons was actually really good fun. I really enjoyed it, and I was concerned about them. I don't know how good they are even in 9th. I know they've got 9th edition codex, but I don't know how good they are. But I really enjoyed it, actually. I think they did well. I took a bit of a random list, but it was fun. Just spray Gaz green and you're done. I can't do that, though. I mean, I could have just put some green on his face now, and he's kind of 3 colours, but I can't be that guy. Psychomancer, nice. Yeah, I like the Psychomancer. So he's got a random... You guys, if you don't know, he's got a random ability, right? Where you pick a unit within 18 inches, I think it is, at the end of the... morale phase, roll 3d6 and you can pick something to do like turn off obsec, which is quite dirty. I quite like that. I had to get a buddy to assemble my Psychomancer because it was too frustrating. I almost did the same with who's that like main Cryptech dude? I can't remember his name now. Illuminas Zaraz. I had PTSD after building him, honestly. It was horrendous. Ginger Steve, I should bit the LGT. Jake, I'll bring some Percy Pigs. I got him Percy Pigs, Ginger Steve, and he let Steve eat them all. So don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. You guys super chat for Percy Pigs. I bought Jake Percy Pigs. He let Steve eat them all. Or Steve just stole them from him. Whichever. Inquisitive X, you have to crush Valrak. I have commissioned 2,000 points of Corn Demons to be ready for that game. They're ready on time. I might bring Corn Demons to face off against Space Marines. Just because if I'm gonna beat him, I want to beat him with a shitty codex and with his mortal enemy demons, so that it's just extra salt in the wounds. I think I could do that. Math says, haven't you already had them cut off anyway? I have. Yeah, I have. That's true. There's no more little Liams coming in anytime soon. Drink the paint water. No, I don't think so. I took a real narrative army to the last Throne of Skulls and got 23rd. You can do narrative, but there's a lot of work to complete. But how many players? Was there 22 players? Heroes Crusades. Was there 22 players? Or watch out for his herpes when you stream with him. I know. I can't stand next to him, can I? Because it's just gonna. Yeah, I might get one of them COVID screens between us. So he just can't breathe on me. Needs some Art of Liam with his classy action. I should have my portrait painted. That's probably something that should happen. It's better to see play Warhammer than talk about than only talk about it. I would like some clarification. It's better to see play Warhammer than only talk about it. Yep, gonna need some help with that one. Toys to the Toy God just had a shower. Did he read out any of my comments? What comments? No, is the answer. Matt H, did you enjoy building the Psychomancer? I didn't think he was that bad. He was okay. He wasn't too bad. Illuminator Xeris was definitely worse. I've definitely built worse models than him, to be honest with you. The Void Dragon was pretty shit as well, actually, to be honest with you. When you say you can't be that guy with paintings, do you mean actually finishing models? James, fuck off. Ginger Steve, jammy dodgers are amazing. Oh yeah, Ginger Steve is showing me Percy Pig jammy dodgers at Marks and Spencer's. How is that a thing? Now I've run out of juice because of you lot and I can't talk. Jesus, this is a struggle now. I fully endorse this action. Blood for the Blood God. Varak's mortal enemy is roofs. Roofs and herpes. Yeah, if I bring STDs and a roof, he's fucked, right? Then he won't win anything. Corn Demons are extra glass. They are, but if it works, it'll embarrass him, right? It'll embarrass him. Blood, gallons of the stuff, give us blood. Yeah, see? When you call a list narrative, when you bring a shitty list. I think Ice Wolf's been drinking. Someone help me. I think he's been drinking. Necrons are plums to build. Yeah, so Necrons, even the warriors, the easy to build warriors were really difficult to put together without snapping pieces. I've heard that the Hexmark Destroyer is an absolute fucking nightmare. I haven't put him together yet. But the score pack in places was shitty to put together. They look amazing, right? The model range looks incredible, but they are not the most fun I've ever had to put together. And I would, in hindsight, would have liked to have got someone else to do it for me. But the Necrons is an army I'm doing slowly. And that's why I'm currently borrowing Steve's Necrons to playtest, so I can start to hone the list that I want to build and paint first, and then I'll keep adding to it for things like YouTube. Just bring a big blob of red butchers, win. Yeah, Scriv. Well, I faced red butchers on Sunday, and they were pain-inducing. They slaughtered most of what they touched, and I tried to control them, even struggled. Demons, you're basically crunching on the demonic incursion strat. Yeah, haven't done the Void Dragon yet, but Cesaris was a complete, and then there's lots of stars. Cesaris, if you guys want to challenge, this is an interesting story actually. I have a WhatsApp chat of just friends of mine that play 40k with, outside of things like DZTV and stuff, and guys that I think are just awesome. Have this WhatsApp chat, and someone put in there something about Cesaris being an absolute nightmare to put together. And I said, just don't be a fucking ham-fisted lunatic and you'll be fine. Like, it's just a model. Just build the fucking model. And I had him on my desk in a box, and I got given some sort of comment about, go on then, off you go. And I regretted making that statement. I massively regretted making that statement. I had some problems. Some real problems. Tomb Blades are horrendous. You're right, Scrivo. Ice Wolf says whiskey and weed. It's the holiday. Sorry, don't be sorry for having your holidays. That's fine. I'm sorry that I can't quite make out what you're right, so I can give you a proper answer. But don't ever apologise for being on your holidays. You enjoy yourself. Live the dream. I thought the Hex mic was fine. Okay, I've had a couple of people say it wasn't very nice, but whiskey, weed, and Slayer. I love Slayer. I need to put some Slayer on. I've put off building my Flag ones because they're so fiddly and I have 20 to build. I also have 20 Flag ones in a box that I ordered because I got some of them in the Kill Team box. I ordered a load of for eBay because I like the idea of deep striking big blobs with Flayed ones and charging them in and stuff. And I got them out the box when they first turned up and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to. They're just going to fucking snap. In fact, some of them were broken and snapped before they even turned up. Like, yeah, didn't enjoy that at all. I haven't. They're still in the box. I thought Winters is also building a Necron army that he sent enough to Den of Imagination. I genuinely thought about just giving him to him because I just couldn't fucking be bothered with them. But I think I'm gonna have to put them together. I'm gonna have to put them together at some point. I'm gonna have to suck it down and just do it. I feel like the 20 that I've got, I'm probably gonna get 15 out of it by the time I finish building them. Like I think that's the thing with Flag ones. If you're gonna take Flag ones, if you're gonna use Flag ones, you need to buy maybe 10 to 20% more than you actually need. And then when you finish building them, you've probably got enough. So there you go. Liam Ham-Fisted Dempsey. I didn't actually break him. Scriv, but I was so incredibly close. And I thought to myself, if I go into that group chat and say, yeah, I've broken Cesares, I'm never going to live it down ever. Ever. So I didn't break him. Either that, or I just didn't tell anyone. I said, I'm not admitting it. Make up your own mind. RTRT, Wraithguard, Blades are a pain in the ass to build. Yeah, some of the contact points aren't great for those. I didn't think they were horrendous, though. I preferred them to the easy to build Necrons. I think the Necrons were so much closer to this. I basically started trimming Necron pieces down where there's like a pin that sits in the chest. Just so it would go in a lot easier. And you're supposed to not be able to put them together without glue. I used glue and just shaved everything down so it wasn't quite such a tolerance fit. And it wasn't too bad then. But pushing two pieces together, which are a tolerance fit, when you've got a joint that's the width of Varak's penis, it just snaps every time. Blast Tundra, the Flag 1 models are worth the aggro in my opinion, but they are fiddly bastards. They look amazing at least, right? Jay is good at painting them. Jay's amazing at painting. Mohawk Minis, exclamation mark Mohawk Minis on Twitch for definite, and you can go and find his channel. I don't think I've set it up on YouTube yet. Jay's a legend and he's painted tons of Necrons. I couldn't put him through it. I want to do these for me anyway, and I'm not doing the greatest job in the world, so I've had to. This has been an interesting Necrons. These models, this guy here, the Destroyer that I started as well. This has been a journey of discovery for me, right? Where I kind of started off every project I've ever started painting. I put so much time and effort into a model to get it up to a standard that I'm happy with. And often I can get to a standard where I'd be semi-comfortable sticking them in a painting competition. I mean, I wouldn't win, but I'd be comfortable putting them in a painting competition. And I've come to terms with the fact that to start with, for competitive events or for tournament events or for events in general, that doesn't really matter as long as they look sort of cohesive and they look nice. And also, do I actually gain anything out of it? YouTube, DZ, etc., for them being that good. They just need to be good, and that's it. So I'm trying with the Necrons to not go super hardcore down the painting every little detail. So the only thing I'm spending any time on at all is the blade sort of blend. Let's get rid of that face because it can see my face. It knows my face is there. So the blade blends are the only bit I'm spending any time on at all. The rest of them I'm not spending tons of time on. So they just look like a cool looking force on the tabletop. And I'm hoping this means that I can get a Necron army out sometime in the next 10 years to play on in the 14th edition. I'm hoping. What do you listen to when you're painting? My wife shouting at me for painting. No, I'm joking. So if I'm sat here, I paint here. I'm in my office now. This is my desk. I could probably zoom the camera out and show you. And if I'm painting sat here, I'm almost always got YouTube on, or I'm watching something on Amazon Video. So if it's if it's in the evening and someone like Valrak streaming, I'll sit and hang out with Sam, chuck a couple of stupid comments in every now and again, but just listen to him chatting away because it's easy. I have recently been watching through Vikings was painting, which is good and bad. One, because it's good because the season is amazing, the series is amazing, and I've really enjoyed it. It's bad because I quite often end up looking up from my paintbrush, and then I'll sit here for sort of 5-10 minutes, and I think, fuck, I haven't been painting. It's just part of the reason why it's so slow. But I've enjoyed the series. This office is like my away from my family. I'm joking. I can't escape from them. I can't go anywhere. They're there all the time. They never leave me. I'm stuck with them. And my full-time job is work from home, so I'm in this office forever. I need out. Josh Clark, due to how horrendous this edition is to field a proper narrative-inspired army, my decade-old Steel Legion army is looking like it's going to gather more dust. That's a shame. I'm hoping, from what we've seen recently, we're going to see a full plastic Deathcore Krieg army. I'm hoping. I've got a monumentally sized amount of Deathcore Krieg resin in my garage, and Son of Olympia's just gifted a sub to Dicky95. Legend, thank you so much. What a hero. And thank you to everybody who's followed as well. You're all legends. But I've got a monumental amount of resin Deathcore Krieg in my garage, just sat there in a box doing nothing. Factorum and Foreground have offered to take it off my hands and paint it up and get it all ready to use, and then I can use it. So, Deathcore coming soon. The G-Dubs mold line remover is a perfect size to loosen the standard push fit socket. Oh, I didn't know that. There's a top tip. Look at that for a top tip. So you just jam it in there, twist it round. There you go. Bit wider, easier to stick some glue on. Off it goes. Jay is a massive legend. Without him teaching me to paint, I might have abandoned making minis look nice. Love my lessons. Jay is Mohawk Miniatures Jay on Twitch, and he has a Patreon service where you can sub on Patreon, and he gives you painting guides and stuff, and you can book lessons and stuff with him as well. Super nice guy. Spent a lot of time with Jay. Got a lot of time for Jay. Very talented man as well. Definitely someone to go and check out if you want to improve your painting. Gaz Briley says, evening buddy, hello Gareth, how are you? You absolute hero. Just jumped in as I started talking about Deathcore Krieg. It's like you heard it and then you turned up. I totally agree with you on the painting. It's better to have a fully painted army to a good standard than just 1 or 2 units painted excellently, especially if you're gaming. And that's where I've been going wrong. It's 100% where I've been going wrong. I've got a couple of models that are very well painted, and then I run out of steam and nothing else gets done. So I stop, and then I move on to the next project. I really love the concept of putting a list together, building a list, coming up with how it's going to play, building the narrative, and I even get as far as I like putting that list together physically, like building that list. And then I start to really struggle with the painting piece. That's where I lose my motivation. So what I'm hoping is with the Necrons at the moment, because the other thing with Necrons is I feel like with Necrons, you can play elite, you can play Horde, kind of. You can play in between, you can play everything. You can play vehicles, you can play infantry, you can play monsters. The only thing you can't do in Necrons is the psychic stuff, but then you get Catan powers, which is kind of playing in the psychic phase. So with Necrons, you get the ability to play almost any type of force in kind of almost any type. They've got lots of lumbering infantry, or they've got loads of really fast units. So I think they've got loads of options in terms of how you can play in their playstyle, which is really good because it means you can have one force, change a few units, and you change the way the army sort of plays and the way the army feels. The other bonus with Necrons is they're fucking silver with wash. So unless you do something stupid, like decide to try and Hex Wraith paint every single Necron model, they could theoretically be really easy to paint to a standard that you can then put them on the tabletop. So what I'm doing is I'm airbrushing all the silver on. I'm getting hold of the models. I'm adding some Balthasar gold in places that I want Balthasar gold. I'm adding some black in places that I want black, and I'm adding some green. That's about it, I think. Actually, if I think about it, then I wash it all with the amazing wild-breaking Agrax Earthshade and let that settle. Bring some of the black back up, start painting the green glow, and that's kind of all I'm doing for now. And I figure, like, if I can do that for everything and base it all, I could go back in and add more detail later. I can do that. But at least once I've done that, I've got a fully painted army, so it's not too much of a chore. So that's my current intent, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to stick to it, and it's really hard, but I'm getting there. Okay, I'm getting there. Viking rules big time, but for sure you miss too much when painting, even if it's the third time watching the series. Bjorn is very well cast. Love that dude, young and older. Yeah. Vikings is an amazing series. But if you're a bit squeamish, it might not be for you. Dickie's thanking Son of Olympia for the gifted Twitch sub. Legend puts us up another sub as well. Another sub. Just saying. I was having the exact same issue with my orcs. Yeah, did we bully Varak out of the chat with Herp? You've got to remember, right? He's not as young as he used to be. He needs to go and sleep, and he's now infected. He's got to recover. So he needs time. He's probably also gone offline so he can practice and work out how he's going to get better for our match. Because he needs to. He needs to do that. Until we know what Deathcore Creek can have in an army list, it's tough to find motivation. Roll on the Guard Codex. Yeah, that's got to be the hard part. And I guess the kill team stuff with Krieg isn't really helping. So it's helping in the fact that it's amazingly plastic models, but not helping because I still don't know what I'm fucking doing for an army, and I've dropped money on this. So give me some. I hate it when they do that. I'm super keen not to turn this into a Games Workshop bashing this particular episode. We've done a lot of that recently. A lot of channels have done a lot of that recently. So I'm trying not to do that because, talking about the narrative versus the competitive in 40k, it's massively important to me that we say that, you know what, it's actually impossible to truly reflect the narrative on the tabletop, but it's okay. They're doing a really good job. Massive thank you to the Factorum for a super chat, £5. Good evening, young man. Young man. Did you hear that, chat? Young man. Like I said, you guys go check out the Factorum on... check out Super Chats. Check out the Factorum on Facebook. Give that page a like. They're on Instagram as well. Keep you out on their events. One of the best events I've been to, and it's the first one they've ever run, so they're only going to get better, right? No pressure, Floris. They're only going to get better. That's exactly how I paint army and army paint in return for characters and extra details. Yeah, I feel like if I can do that, if I can nail that, then I'm going to be happy that I'm going to start kicking out more and more models, which is good. Jedi Liam, the Magpie Dempsey, great OF name, nobody will know. It's like Lawrence and the Spider, but I'm the Magpie. Is that what we're saying? I think magpies eat spiders. I design a list and then paint it. It's how I keep focused. So I do that first part really well, Scrivo. I do the list building part well. Then I struggle with the painting part. So maybe. Did you get my Instagram mail? Possibly. I get lots of Instagram mails. Not a flex. Kind of a flex. I'll have to have a look later. If someone's going to have to tell me if there's any Discord questions in there, because I haven't looked. Perhaps you should keep Varak in here, make him a sleepless rack for when you both play. Oh, poor old Sam. He's back. He's come back. He's heard his name mentioned 3 times, and he's come back. Clearly, his missus has finished changing his colostomy bag, and he's back in the chat. So, welcome back, Sam. One thing Games Workshop could do is create rules for linking Kill Team, BF, Battlefield Gothica, Big 40k, Titanicus into a narrative campaign. So that's something that I think would be really cool to do with DZ or on the channel. Like if you could have an Aeronautica game they play out below, and then you go to Titanicus. That'd be really cool. But I don't know how well you'd link them together. And I tend to find that typically most people will play 1 or 2 of the systems and not all of them. So I think if you sort of linked Kill Team to 40k to Battlefield Gothic, etc., maybe you'd lose people. Some people wouldn't get what's going on. I don't know. I suppose if you tell the story well enough, rather than focus on the actual game, you'd probably get away with it, which is really cool. You need to play Black Legion against Valrak. How humiliating it would be for his fist to lose to 1 wound CSM. Black Legion, I played Black Legion in the last game at the event, right? And Black Legion have got a 3 command point stratagem, which is broke AF. That fucking thing is crazy. 3 CPs, and you turn off OBSEC for the whole battle round, and you turn off any abilities that allow them to hold objectives, even if they've got more models. So you just have to have one of your Black Legion models on an objective. It doesn't matter if they've got 55 intercessors on the objective. They're not holding it. That's turbo. It's so good as a stratagem. So good. Fluke Skywalker 91, following on Twitch. Legend, thank you very much. You're an absolute hero. Do they do 2v2 events? We need more double events. at the Factorum, they are going to be doing doubles in the future at some point, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, 2v2 is cool. I love 2v2. And if they don't do one, perhaps we will put one together. I think I've been speaking to Winters, and I think we're also going to look to run some events at Factorum as well. Basically bring more people there because the place is amazing. And it's in between me and Winters, which is really, really cool. So, yeah. Son of Olympia gifted a sub to Jerk Cola. What a great name. Son of Olympia gifting subs out. You've now gifted 7 subs out. 7 subs. You're a hero. Kind of have the painter's block as well. Get like 6 armies waiting to be painted. Got a bunch of minis before Brexit, and now a mountain to paint, but nothing done. I'm not gonna. What we shouldn't do. We shouldn't compare mountains. I mean, I've just given a 2,000 or 3,000 point Deathcore army to the Factorum to paint up, to foreground to paint up, because I get around to it. Narrative 40k mainly comes from special rules and army skills and traits. I guess much more than that would require a significant overhaul of the D6 and the basic stat system. Yeah, so we sort of talked about that at the start of the stream, right? Like, to get it 100% narrative, you start to have to using D20s left, right, and Charlie, which is. It just gets messy, and I don't think we can do that and get away with that, and I don't think it works. Space Marines hitting on 3s with the statistics of hitting on 3s is probably not narrative, but you'd have to massively overhaul how the game works then, and then that would impact how Custodians shoot, and it would impact how other armies shoot, and it gets super messy. So I agree with you, 100% agree with you guys there. Yeah, definitely. Super chat from Ginger Steve. Ginger Steve is one of my favourite people on planet Earth, because he is so incredibly supportive of the community in general. So he supports me, Valrak, Vanguard Tactics, Mohawk Minis. What an absolute hero. So he's going to get a special shout out. And he super chatted 499. I love your content, Liam, but I am 100% behind Valrak in the 1 versus 1 game. Okay, fuck you then. Right? I started that without reading that, and look what that got me. Valrak, he's our man. He can't remember all the rules because no one can. I started praising you, Steve. I started off giving you love. That's how I got repaid. But you super chatted, so it's all right. It's fine. Factorum says a 2v2 is a must. There you go, Sam. We're going to be having a 2v2 down there. So you'll have to check out if that hotel you've booked is any good, and then come down and we'll do a 2v2 event as well. Got to show those YouTube donkeys who is best. The YouTube member goal's not starting strong tonight. Or they've super chatted the hell out of it though. So although this doesn't look great, Son of Olympia, the super chats are pretty strong to this evening. Pretty strong. What's your least favourite race chapter, Liam, and why? That's a really interesting question. That's a really interesting. So typically, my least favourite faction over recent years has been orcs. Because I'm not a fan of comedic funny orcs. I don't like that kind of aesthetic. I like Beast Arise's frightening scary orcs. That's what I like. Having read the new codex, I think that scary orcs is possible in the new codex. So I kind of like the idea that they could be scary orcs. And I'm not saying for any stretch of imagination I'm now looking at an orc army. Definitely not. But I've got Gaz that I've got to paint now. So, not sure. So orcs was definitely my least favourite faction. My least favourite chapter. Imperial Fists. They're just tragic. They're just tragic, aren't they? So, I'm looking at paint 1,000 points of Marines, but keep hitting the painter's wall. It's a thing. It's a real thing. I don't know what to suggest to get over that painting wall either. Maybe 3 versus 3 is too much, but it would be interesting to see the teams, see team games. Team games can work, I think, but maybe not as an event. Who are the heretics? Got to go. Painted Giller's got to go. See you later, dude. To be honest with you, I'm killing it soon because I'm absolutely exhausted and I want to go to bed at a reasonable time, and it's already 11:15. So, Scrivo challenges me to be scared by his orcs. Okay. Ginger Steve says it's always a double-edged sword unless it's Valrak's chat, in which case it's a dagger in the back. I'm gonna tell me what your orcs are, Scrivo, and I'll see if I can be scared of them. Hey, I know this is your channel, but I have a question about VT. When and where do they stream? They have no information anywhere that states that. They stream on YouTube to Vanguard Tactics at 7 p.m. UK time every single Tuesday without fail. So go check them out there. And if you're in that stream, they'll give you details to that other stuff as well. And I'll give that feedback to Steve as well, so we'll make sure we advertise it better as well. Please beat Valrak. F in the chat for Quipster. Well, where's he? For the fist hatred. Oh, bless him. Anyway, I need to go. I'm absolutely fucking exhausted. I'm so tired. I've got work tomorrow in the morning, so I'm tired. If you guys want to hang out with me again tomorrow night, then 7 p.m. Vanguard Tactics, I'll be hosting the stream with Eddie whilst Jake takes on Steve. And I believe it's Raven Guard versus Harlequin, so it should be an interesting matchup. And you guys can come and hang out there as well, and I'll chat to you then some more then. Obviously, we'll be doing this again at 21:30 next week, so don't forget to come and check out the stream next week as well. I'll put it up sometime during the day, so you guys know what the topic is going to be. To be honest with you, there's lots of releases coming, so it's probably be focused around that. Don't forget you can join the channel on YouTube and you get some perks for that as well. You can sub on Twitch, and you guys are amazing at supporting me, so thank you so much for all of the super chats, for all the subscriptions, for all the follows, for all the likes, for all this. You're just amazing. You guys are incredible, and thank you for being on this journey with me to get to full-time 40k. It's really, really incredible, and I'm just so blown away by the support. So thank you so much for all of the support. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I'm sorry it was a short one this week, but like I said, I'm dying here. So I will definitely see you all next week. Catch you then. Love you all. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.